Hey, what is going on, freedom fighters? Welcome back to another Break the Chains Media. Today is January 5th, 2026, and we are getting into I would say it's an over-the-top, extremely exciting year, but the year's just getting started, folks. Holy cow, what a way to welcome in the new year. We've got just outstanding reports, insane reports. I mean, let's be honest, folks. I was up till like 4 in the morning when I was hearing all the news break about the targeted military strikes in Venezuela and what was going on with Maduro and everything that unfolded. I mean, obviously, time is our best friend right now because there is a lot of things happening, kicking off the new year with President Maduro, or the dictator or the unelected president of Venezuela, Maduro, being taken by Trump and taken by the military, the U.S., all of these people involved in this extraction effort that happened over the past weekend. Extremely incredible. I am not for war. I am not for foreign interventions. I am not for regime change. So I'm going to get that right out there right now. But like I said, time will tell, and we will see how this unfolds. But we're going to get into all of that in this live stream on Break the Chains Media. We're going to talk about the Venezuelan oil, the drug cartels, and in my humble opinion, the larger reason why we are in Venezuela, why we have actually extracted President Maduro, is because of the Smartmatic systems, is because of the election interference that's been going on, that has been running through Venezuela for the better part of 2 decades. And for this Trump administration, this is the first U.S. administration, mind you. Let's take a beat here, because in past regime change wars, in past U.S. involvement with military, whether it be Iraq or Afghanistan or Vietnam, or you can list them all off, okay? But when America gets involved in some sort of international conflict, we always end up killing these people. Whether it's Gaddafi. Do you remember with Hillary? We saw, he died, and then she laughs her maniacal, demonic laugh, right? We killed Gaddafi. We killed Saddam Hussein. We killed Osama bin Laden. We're talking about Obama attacking and killing Osama bin Laden, and then the funeral at sea. Do you remember the funeral at sea with Osama bin Laden? Okay, folks, every single time that the United States has done something like this, there's never been congressional approval, right? I think we actually did get congressional approval with the Iraq War, and we used that. We used 9/11 as a pretext for war in Congress, and this whole rah-rah patriotism bullshit back in after 9/11. So there probably was congressional approval back then. That's why we ended up getting a 20-year war with Iraq, with Afghanistan, with the Middle East. And all these leftists coming out bitching and moaning because we didn't get congressional approval. Well, folks, I got three words for you. It's the War Powers Act, and the president can do any military action within 60 days, and if it prolongs further than 60 days, that is when you have to get congressional approval for a prolonged military presence. So, folks, there is so much to get into, but I do firmly believe that a lot of this ties back in with the Venezuelan election rigging cartel, and that is why, bringing it back to my point, every single time that the United States has gone into and done this military involvement, we've ended up killing those involved, whether it's Gaddafi, Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, you name it. They've all ended up being killed. Well, this is the first time that we have actually extracted this high-profile individual, and now this person is in U.S. custody, alive, with his wife, to face charges in the Southern District of New York on these several charges that I have listed here. But we are going to get into all that here on today's live stream. I'm not sure why I look yellow, but let's change that lighting, folks. Let's change it so I don't look so yellow. I look a little bit better with a white light on. But hey, thank you for hanging out. Welcome to Break the Chains Media. We are going to get into all of the nitty-gritties here on this live stream today. And if this is the first time checking out Break the Chains Media, hit that follow button. Hit that share button. Be a part of the chain gang. Be a chain breaker. We are the chain breakers here on Break the Chains Media, so be a part of it. And you can also check out breakthechains.media. You can click on the Realm Walker Hot Sauce tab in the top right to pick up a bottle of Realm Walker Hot Sauce. I've got a great batch of flavors for all you to pick up. I've got Muspelheim ready to go. I've got Ragnarok. Ragnarok is ready to go. Come pick up your bottles and support Break the Chains Media along with Niflheim and Midgard. Excellent flavors here from Realm Walker Hot Sauce. Travel the 9 realms of Norse mythology. And then we always got to rev up them chainsaws, folks. Rev them up because we got the Chainsaw Caucus coming in hot. Be a part of cutting through government corruption, bloat, and fiscal irresponsibility with the Chainsaw Caucus. We are a part of the Afuera movement inspired by Javier Milei, cutting through all of the bureaucracy and bloat that government has to offer. So with your donation, $10 a month, Chainsaw Caucus gets you involved with our actions here as well as the actions here with Break the Chains Media. In the description of this video down below, you can click on that link and you can be a part of the Chainsaw Caucus. And lastly, the Golden Summit. This coming up Sunday, January 10th, the Golden Summit. I highly encourage everyone and anyone in the area, please. Folks, come check out the Golden Summit. This is the Colorado conservative grassroots movement to reinvigorate and re-energize Colorado in the 2026 year. We're coming into the midterms, and the Golden Summit, our event here, is a great way to build a coalition, build conservative movement, and bring in that energy that we need coming into the midterms in November of 2026. The Golden Summit is going to have a great event. We're going to have barbecue. We're going to have Jeff Hunt there. We're going to have Nicole Hunt there. We're going to have Jarvis Caldwell, the minority leader, the GOP minority leader, Jarvis Caldwell, as well as Heidi Ganal. And we're going to have live music by Derek Hall. It's going to be a fantastic event. I highly encourage everyone to show up, be a part of it. And the link is going to be pinned down below. If you want to be a part of this, you can pick up your tickets to the Golden Summit for this Saturday, January 10th. And this is how we actually change the energy, change the movement here in Colorado by building unity, building coalition, and building a movement that we can actually stand behind, because these old GOP members of the past, these old Rhino officials of the past, I'm sick and tired of seeing Colorado fall to half-wit and spineless, weak GOP officials. Not all of them, but some of them. A lot of them like to just play these old guard politic games, and we are here at the Golden Summit in Jefferson County, Colorado to change that. So be a part of the movement and join us. Please, I highly encourage it. And with that being said, folks, all of the ad reads and all the sponsorships are done. We are going to be going right into it because holy cow, folks, what is going on? It's been a tough time, because I'll tell you what. Watching these videos, like this was my first video, okay? This was my first post as I was up till 4 a.m. watching these videos unfold of the bombing and the helicopters and the precision military strikes. We weren't sure because the fog of war was thick and real over this past weekend, and watching this video just absolutely shook me, and along with a lot with everyone else. We got shaken. I mean, they don't call it shock and awe for nothing, folks, because that is exactly what this was. This was a shock and awe military distraction in Venezuela. And as far as I can tell, there were no reported casualties on either side. So this whole thing, as it was unfolding, it was very difficult to palate. It was very difficult to take in. So I posted this. So what happened to no new wars? I know there are many reasons to target Venezuela, but this is a straight up shock and awe warfare. Definitely not a good look. 2026 is starting off with a bang indeed. And I still stand by this. I mean, it's just crazy to see this unfold. But as time progressed, time is our friend. Time is an ally in this ongoing conflict, ongoing escalation tactic that's happening. But we see that this was a very precision strike. This only took a few hours, and we ended up extracting Nicolas Maduro and his wife, and they are in U.S. custody right now. So they're actually today they were in front of their judges today, and we're going to get into that here in a minute. But like I said, the fog of war is extra thick, and it was very difficult to take all of this in. And I'm sure that everyone can agree that we don't like seeing this. We have like this generational trauma of seeing these type of military campaigns play out, and this type of military exercise be implemented. So when we see bombs going off, when we see helicopters flying through, it's not a good look, and it brings back those old fears of the Middle Eastern conflicts, of Iraq, of Afghanistan, of Syria, how Trump bombed Syria in his first administration. I mean, like, so we cannot fall to this concept. We cannot fall to this narrative that we're in another regime change war. And folks, I don't want to like gaslight you. I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to make shit up. I mean, there is a degree of regime change. There is a degree that obviously taking out a dictator who was unelected, who lost an election, and now there needs to be a fair and effective way for the Venezuelan people to administer their new government, right? So, and there is a difference between a quote-unquote spreading democracy and this foreign war tactic that America always does in the past. We see this happen. We've seen this unfold time and time again, where America has to be the arbiter of truth, has to be the one that pulpits this regime change narrative. But I genuinely do not see that happening right now, because as it stands right now, there is no more military involvement happening in Venezuela at current time right now. As of January 5th, there is no more hot conflict unfolding in Venezuela. We got Nicolas Maduro. We extracted him and his wife. They are in front of judges, standing trial against the crimes that were listed and committed against them in the Southern District of New York. They have been extracted, and there are obviously on the ground squabbles of what's happening in Venezuela, because the current vice president is saying that this is we're going to stand up against the United States government and all this. We are going to see some sort of pushback from the current regime that is in Venezuela. Don't get me wrong, but as far as it pertains to a U.S. involvement in a regime change, Trump himself has stated that he's not looking for a puppet regime that's going to favor American interest. Now, does that can be interpreted in many different ways. I do think that having a more favorable government in Venezuela to economic diplomacy and economic deals with the United States, with other countries in the Americas, is a good thing. So removing a dictator who was exploiting and harming their people, and the responses are absolutely wild, because we're gonna actually pull up a Governor Polis response to the actions taken by Donald Trump. It's actually super interesting to see how the governor of Colorado responded to this, because I think we're all in agreement that Nicolas Maduro was a terrible person and should not have been in charge there. When I say we, I'm not including the Democrat Socialists of America, because these scumbags made a list of demands that we're going to get into too. So there is some level of regime change, but it's not the same. It's not the same flavor of regime change that we've seen in the Middle East and in Afghanistan or Iraq. These failed state policies, that the spreading of democracy, this whole old guard tactic, this old guard mentality that we're so accustomed to seeing when we talk about military involvement from the United States. But let's take a look. Let's read from Donald Trump. I posted this at, I think, 4 in the morning, 3:30, 4 in the morning on Saturday morning. Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been extracted out of Venezuela in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. And I will read this like Donald Trump. The United States and excuse me. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela's leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Folks, I did not actually watch that news conference, and I have still not watched that news conference because I believe that it's all going to sound very much like old guard politics as usual, and I don't want to participate in that, folks. I do genuinely believe that there is a larger narrative at play. We're talking about election integrity. We're talking about Dominion voting systems. We're talking about Sierra voting systems in California. We're talking about the larger structure of election fraud that was played out through the proxy state of Venezuela. That is a larger component to what is happening in Venezuela right now. Okay? So as the dust settles, as time, like I said, time is our ally. I think that's one of the biggest things we have to take away from this live stream, folks. Time is our ally. Seeing how things play out and seeing how things unfold is monumental and vitally important to how we respond to the current administration's tactics and agendas and what plays out in time to come. So that's what I'm saying. Time is on our side. Time is an ally. And that being said, what they did in Venezuela. So in an hour or two, the U.S. went into Venezuela, fucked up their military infrastructure, uncontested, tagged and bagged the president and his wife, and then dipped in time. We're talking, that's pretty hardcore when you think about the exact scale of what they did and the precision of what they did. It was a surgical strike, precision strike that extracted the one person that could spill the beans, that could squeal like a pig, that could tell all of the corruption and the details and the networking and the nefarious actions, how Nicolas Maduro, remained in power for so long. There is a wealth of intel within Nicolas Maduro himself and what is to come of this trial that he's going to be faced against, folks. It's absolutely incredible, the state of affairs in which we're watching. And look, check this out, okay? This was my post that I posted an entire month ago to the date, December 3rd. Let's just take a moment and just witness this, because I don't want to be tooting my own horn, but folks, if anyone could read tea leaves, if anyone could watch and witness and see what's happening on the geopolitical larger scale of things, it was pretty easy to see how things were going to play out. And I'm not Nostradamus or anything, but folks, on December 3rd, 2025, 1 month to the date, I posted this. And I'll read the whole thing in its entirety. While I'm not for war, the targeted attack of Venezuela has legal standing since they've designated as a foreign terrorist group. Trump took the gloves off. President Nicolas Maduro faces federal criminal charges in the United States stemming from a superseding indictment unsealed on March 26, 2020 from the Southern District of New York. These charges brought by the DOJ accuse Nicolas Maduro and several high-ranking Venezuelan officials of partnering with the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, the FARC, a designated foreign terrorist organization to orchestrate a narco-terrorism conspiracy aimed at flooding the United States with cocaine. The allegations described a scheme spanning over 2 decades involving the protection and facilitation of massive drug shipments in exchange for financial and political support. Count 1, narco-terrorism conspiracy, and the U.S. code is right here. Count 2, conspiracy to import cocaine. Count 3, using and carrying machine guns and destructive devices, furthering narco-terrorism and cocaine importation. And count 4, conspiracy to use and carry machine guns and destructive devices. So these were the counts against Nicolas Maduro. I posted this an entire month ago. And like I've stated, I am not for war. I am not for intervention. But this has been a long and ongoing issue and a long and ongoing agenda plan to get Venezuela. Wow. Folks, every time I'm trying to hit a point, I get a little tickle in my throat and it's absolutely bullshit, but I absolutely hate it. But so those are the charges that he is facing right now in the Southern District of New York right now. However, I also want to bring up this because because this right here, I believe, is the meat and potatoes to the entire movement that's happening in Venezuela. This right here, from the Dallas Express, this here was also posted an entire month ago. December 4th, 2025, the Dallas Express had an exclusive regarding Hugo Carvajal Barrios. Hugo Carvajal. Carvajal. There it is. Hugo Folks, it's hilarious. Hugo Carvajal. Hugo Carvajal Barrios, a former Venezuelan military intelligence director under Chavez and Maduro. Carvajal warns of Maduro's regime waging war on the U.S. through drugs, gangs, espionage, and election interference. Smartmatic's development in Venezuela is a regime change tool for rigging votes overseen by Carvajal, exported globally, including to the United States, with embedded software alterations. Smartmatic developed in Venezuela as a regime change tool for rigging votes overseen by Carvajal, exported globally, including to the United States, with embedded software alterations and ties to election officials for potential fraud. The Venezuelan founder of Smartmatic are Antonio Mujica, Alfredo Jose Anzola, and Roger Pinate. They have established the company in 2000 to develop electronic voting systems. Each of these men have rather suspicious histories and ties to this larger election rigging narrative. Smartmatic was born as an electoral tool of the Venezuelan regime, but soon derived into a tool to help keep the regime stay in power forever. Carvajal claims Smartmatic was developed inside Venezuela as an election manipulation tool, later developed and deployed abroad. He oversaw intelligence operations that has intersected with electoral processes, making his account particularly credible given his high level of access. Quote, I know this because I placed the head of IT of the National Electoral Council, the CNE, in his position, and he reported directly to me. Folks, this is the larger narrative at play. And I truly believe that Maduro will squeal like a pig and he will tell all. He knows where the bodies are buried. Nicolas Maduro knows where the skeletons are hiding. He knows where the bodies are buried, and he knows everything that's gone on to keep his regime in power, and how these electoral machines, how Smartmatic systems, how the infrastructure and the software was used in American elections and other shell companies in America. As head of military intelligence, Carvajal had direct authority over key electoral infrastructure. He appointed and supervised the IT director of Venezuela National Electoral Council, the body responsible for overseeing elections. This report line allowed him to monitor and influence Smartmatic's implementation domestically. The implication is that Smartmatic's integration into Venezuela's voting system was a top-down intelligence operation, not a commercial arrangement, ensuring regime loyalists could access and alter the technology as needed. Carvajal asserts that Smartmatic software contains built-in vulnerabilities or features enabling unauthorized changes to vote tallies, results, or data transmission. This capability was first tested and refined in Venezuelan elections, where it helped rig outcomes to maintain power amid widespread protests and international scrutiny. Regime operatives maintain relationships with election officials and voting machine companies inside your country. That is Carvajal explicitly claiming that there are foreign ties to Venezuela, meaning that U.S. officials have access to this type of technology, to this software, to this system. Okay? Carvajal reveals persistent connections between Venezuelan intelligence assets and the U.S. entities, including state election officials and voting technology firms. These relationships could facilitate backdoor access, software updates, or influence operations. Quote, I do not claim that every election is stolen, but I state with certainty that elections can be rigged with this software and has been used to do so, unquote. Carvajal tempers his accusations on focuses on capability rather than universal conspiracy, but he confirms that the software's use in actual fraud, primarily in Venezuela. This is a part of Maduro's war against the United States, integrating Smartmatic into a larger narrative of narco-terrorism, gang exports, example of Tren de Aragua and Cartel de los Sols, and foreign espionage. Carvajal offers to provide classified briefings to U.S. authorities, potentially reducing his sentence through cooperation. This was all through the Dallas Express exclusive report. I mean, this is where it's going, folks. This is what I truly believe. This is the agenda. This is what's happening. Is that it's more than just the drugs. It's more than just the show. We're seeing a show right now, folks, and don't get it mixed up, because you want to make sure when you're drinking out of a fire hose, you want to make sure that the truth holds paramount. Okay. And like I said, folks, it's not about the oil. Excuse me. I'll say that with an asterisk. It's not only about the drug cartels, and it's not only about the oil that's in Venezuela. It is about the Smartmatic systems that was founded in Venezuela, the election rigging software, the regime change tools that they use to manipulate and alter election results. And that is how Nicolas Maduro, and that is how Hugo Chavez has retained and controlled the country of Venezuela for so long. And Hugo Carvajal alleges dozens of U.S. senators are tied to the Maduro regime, not just through the news media that we see currently, but they have unique ties to election interference, election operation, election rigging software, whether it's the Sequoia system in California or the Dominion system that ran most of the states. Every single time. I don't know what it is, folks, but Hugo Carvajal alleges dozens of U.S. senators are tied to the Maduro regime. And it's not in the way that you think. It is through election manipulation, election rigging, election interference, using this software, using this system that was built in Venezuela. The Smartmatic system that was built in Venezuela is used in United States elections to this day. And we've got the receipts, folks. We've got all the receipts, and I know people are going to say, show the evidence. There is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. There's no evidence of widespread election interference. Folks, there are countless cases of mail-in ballots or flipping votes or the electronic systems, Dominion systems, manipulating and flipping and altering elections. Okay? And you can see this. You can see this unfold in the days preceding the extraction of Maduro. The next day, Donald Trump posts and released videos and footage of election interference, of election manipulation, of how they stole the 2020 election. This all ties back to the larger narrative of election integrity here in America, and I will stand to that. I will stand on that hill, and I will scream from the rooftops that this is based in election integrity. This is based in election fraud. Okay? Let's take a look here, because I posted it earlier. Venezuela ties to rigged U.S. elections will come out. The 2020 election, Tina Peters, Smartmatic, and Dominion. It's all connected. What else did Delta Force extract outside of Maduro and his wife? What else, what other intel did Delta Force extract during this exercise in Venezuela? Let's take a listen to this video.
Being observed. Mail-in ballots counted without being observed. Those are the ballots we were talking about that were not observed in Allegheny County and in Philadelphia.
Correct.
Is that right? 682,770. Now, this is the part that is a mystery. Mailed ballots sent out, 1,823,148. But when you go to the count of the final count of the vote, there are 2,589,242 mail-in ballots. What happened? How do you account for the 700,000 mail-in ballots that appeared from nowhere?
Yep.
So our cyber team uses white hat hacking techniques. They gather a lot of publicly available information, and that information was from the Secretary of State's website. That website has been updated as late as 11/16 this morning with provisional and mail-in ballots. So those numbers are still changing. They changed last night, so it's a continual target.
This is 22 days after the election.
That number, the 2.5 million number is no longer on the website.
Just been taken off?
It's not there anymore.
Is there any explanation for why it's been taken off?
There was no annotations.
Mail-in
Folks, it is more. It is larger than just oil. It is larger than just drug cartels. It is larger than just Tren de Aragua. It is larger than the Cartel de los Sols. There is a larger extraction agenda happening from Venezuela right now, and it has to do with the 2020 election, Smartmatic systems, and the political prisoner Tina Peters. All of this comes back to a head when we start looking at it from a 30,000-foot view. I do firmly believe that there is a larger agenda at play when we see the larger view, right? There's a bigger thing happening right here, and I am just, it blows my mind that when you look through all of this, not just in Colorado, but Colorado is rife for corruption. Colorado was a Dominion headquarters, okay? Denver, Colorado, Dominion headquarters, okay? Why do you think that Secretary of State Jenna opposed to anyone contradicting or anyone contesting an election interference agenda or election integrity agenda here in Colorado, because Dominion Systems had a headquarters here. They were part and parcel to a larger election rigging narrative. And I firmly believe that Tina Peters exposed this in Mesa County. And what they do and how they operate with Smartmatic systems backlogged into Dominion infrastructure. So the Dominion election software has Smartmatic infrastructure laid into it to allow backdoor access, to allow for manipulation from third parties. Why do you think that Jenna Griswold and the Attorney General Phil Weiser proclaim that Colorado has such a gold standard and such a high turnout of voters here in Colorado? And we have such a corrupt state, whether it be courts, whether it be judges, whether it be legislation, whether it be election officials. And Tina Peters exposed this. And it all comes back around to the software that was developed in Venezuela in the early 2000s. Okay? It's the whole thing. The whole thing makes me sick to see that, and it's a lot to take in, because we're sitting here seeing larger narratives at play, right? Let me go at this here. I made several posts in transition to my frustrations. I'm obviously frustrated that we saw this, this military involvement, this military action in Venezuela. But, I said, when do we get targeted precision strikes against? So when do we get targeted, right? When do we start seeing arrests of the domestic enemies here in America? We could do this. We can do this to Nicolas Maduro. We can make a military. The United States can operate an international extraction operation within 3 hours against a foreign dictator who has rigged elections and who's ran drugs and worked with Cartel de los Sols. We can make this happen in 3 hours, but we can't see domestic enemies brought to justice. We can't see the Russiagate hoaxers or the Fedsurrection on J6. We can't see these J6 Fedsurrectionists held accountable. We can't see the COVID criminals like Fauci accountable, Christopher Wray, James Comey, Letitia James, all these other local domestic enemies of the United States brought to justice. But we can do this in 3 hours extraction. And now this is where it gets interesting, because I do believe that Nicolas Maduro will squeal like a pig, will spill the beans, will bring out and bring to light all of the corrupt individuals in our country. He will name names, and he will bring justice through his criminal prosecution, through his judicial actions, through everything that's happening through Nicolas Maduro. I do believe that he will be a key component to how we bring to justice those domestic terrorists here in America. The election riggers, the January 6th Fedsurrectionists, all of this ties back to Venezuela. If he brings out the fact that his regime was rigging elections using Smartmatic systems, if Nicolas Maduro comes out and says, my regime was using Smartmatic software that is also used in American election software systems to rig our elections, to manipulate our votes, to hold power in Venezuela, and there are United States officials, senators, congresspersons, state officials, Secretary of States like Jenna Griswold, Secretary of States like the Secretary of State in Michigan, the Secretary of State in Arizona. if Nicolas Maduro comes out and says that there are key actors in America using the same tactics, this is how we arrest our domestic enemies here in America. We will preserve and defend the Constitution and uphold our rights and protect America from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. We get the foreign enemies first, and we get the domestic enemies after. Because if this man, Nicolas Maduro, actually names names and squeals like a pig and lets the American people know how our elections have been rigged and how our election systems have been stolen from us using the same tactics that they were doing in Venezuela, it's all over, folks. It's all said and done. You're going to get a line out the door of corrupt and complicit individuals in 50 fucking states. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. He says it right here. Donald Trump says it. Hey, what's going on, Melindy? Appreciate you jumping in. Happy New Year. Happy New Year indeed. No worries. Yeah, we're good. We are good. Catch up when you can, but it's all here. No regime change. That's what I'm saying. No regime change. Let Venezuela fairly elect their next leader. Okay? From Shadows of Ezra. President Trump confirms that pro-Israel Maria Corina Machado is not being considered to run Venezuela. This is a good thing. He says that she has no respect inside the country and that his administration has no contact with her. She has no respect.
Aware of the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President,
Do you have any hesitations about Machado?
Mr. President, on Monday,
Oh, I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the leader.
Aware of the location of
I mean, he said it very simply put. He said it very simply. We will see what happens. Time will be our ally here. Time will be our ally. I said it here, you know. Everything is insane. 2026, everything is insane. We got neocons salivating, we got leftists protesting, and we got Venezuelans celebrating. And I'm over here wondering when we're getting COVID, Russiagate, Epstein, and the J6 Fedsurrectionists arrests and convictions. We the people want arrests, we the people want prosecutions, and we the people want convictions. That is absolutely the facts. And just so everyone's aware, just so everyone's caught up here, right? So everyone knows what it actually means, what we're actually seeing right now, what we're actually seeing unfold. Obama killed Osama bin Laden. No congressional approval. I'm gonna just start that again. Obama killed Osama bin Laden without congressional approval. Obama invaded Libya. The opposition kills Gaddafi. No approval. You remember Hillary Clinton being, we came, we saw, he died. Right? You remember that? Biden killed the Al-Qaeda leader in 2022. No congressional approval. Trump swoops in and brings the man back alive. Nicolas Maduro comes back alive to the United States, and the Democrats go crazy. Yeah, I would have to say that the Democrats are quite delusional and quite hypocritical when it comes to the intervention and the involvement of the United States military. It's very one-sided, folks. Very one-sided. And then, so this is in Spanish, but this is actually a really good post, and I wanted to bring that up. Then we'll clean up the rest of the feed here. So this is a
No sé dónde irá a
like
salir,
it's all
pero
in
les
Spanish,
pido
so I'm
que
just
tengan
gonna
fe,
let it
que no se
play,
dejen
but muted. Venezuelan man, those who say that the U.S. is only interested in our oil, I ask you, what do you think the Russians and the Chinese wanted here? the recipe for arepas? Come on, folks, let's be honest. There's so much foreign intervention and foreign involvement with Venezuela. It was only a matter of time before the United States had to show up and had to make a stand, because you had Russia and China, Iran, and other countries involved in the conversation and in diplomacy with Venezuela, with an unelected dictator. We don't want to see that, not in the Western Hemisphere. And that's the whole thing, is that I do believe that a lot of this comes back to the Monroe Doctrine. Okay? I posted here. It's not a coincidence that Trump. Here, I'll do this here. It's not a coincidence that Trump is posting about election fraud. Venezuela plays a crucial role in the election rigging scheme worldwide. Smartmatic Systems was founded in Venezuela, and it's how Maduro remained in power. Trump captures Maduro. He squeals on how their system has been used by American Democrats to rig our elections. Maduro names names for a lesser sentence. Trump goes after all the state's corrupt officials who have been stealing our elections from us. If this is the case, we will get that retribution energy that we all desire from Trump. We are living in historic times. Let's take a watch of this video.
So
here.
there were trucks that showed up on the 3rd, and then the 4th, and then the 5th. And how long did that go on? How many days?
Well, I wasn't there the whole last week, but I know
For as
they were
long as
still-
you can recall.
Yeah,
How
they were
many days?
My last day was the 10th, and they were still coming in. And they're
Trucks.
coming from a company called Runback that does the high-speed scanning and printing
Another shell company,
of
Runback.
duplications and I think the military ballots. So now I'm getting out of my comfort level here talking about this. I don't know what they're doing, but those ballots were coming in from a high-speed scanning company called Runback that apparently you haven't heard of Runback?
No, I've heard of Runback,
Okay.
ma'am. What I'm trying to figure out is
Shell
whether
company.
whether they printed them or they scanned them, and if they scanned them off-site, to what purpose?
I can't tell you
Because wasn't that your job to scan them? Well, I beg, not your job, but
Yeah.
The-
No, all the high-speed scanning happens at Runback. So those ballots go to Runback. As far as I know, there were no observers there.
Oh,
I don't know. I never got called to work at Runback. That's all I can tell you.
okay, with all due respect, Mr. Cook, now we've opened up a whole new can of worms.
Yeah, and again,
So
I don't know
this-
enough about it to be the witness.
No,
of this.
that's
So, yeah.
fine. Your observation is useful here. So what you're telling me, I'm going to play this back to you a second. The scanning wasn't actually done on site at a Maricopa County structure. It was done someplace else.
Where they have very high-speed scanners, yeah. And-
Well,
yeah.
right now, I really don't care what the speed is.
Yeah.
I want to know, were they Dominion scanners? Or they were
No, I don't think it has anything to do with Dominion.
So I'm trying to understand, what was the purpose of scanning them in advance of them being tabulated on the Dominion equipment?
They were duplications, the ballots that wouldn't read through the tabulation machines. They were
interesting.
ballots that came in from military and overseas. But there were more ballots than that. So I don't know where the rest of them were coming from, because they kept bringing trays of them in. So I don't know where they were coming from. That's
Where
a question
were
for the
they
county
coming
employees
from?
to explain to you where those ballots came from.
Where were those ballots coming from, folks? And these are the long-standing questions regarding this whole thing, right? It's not war. It's not war. It is a precision military strike. It is a following through with what? Let me actually pull it up here, because I had something else here as well. I wanted to get my 2 cents in on, because no, not highlights. It's over here. It's over here. Let me find it, because I did make a bookmark of this. So let's take a look here. A lot of stuff's been coming in, folks. I do genuinely believe there is a larger election plan at play. Okay? So, let's take a look here. From several weeks back, from, I don't know, maybe a week or 2 weeks back, I Am Ken says, this is not war or piracy. This is a judgment enforcement. The same principle used in every day when courts seize bank accounts, property, aircraft, or cargo from someone who lost in court and refuses to pay. In the 2000s, under Hugo Chavez, Venezuela seized oil projects owned by foreign companies, including major U.S. firms such as ExxonMobil and ConocoPhillips. Those U.S. companies didn't complain on social media. They went to an international arbitration and U.S. courts, the proper legal venues. They won, and the rulings were final, binding, and enforceable. Venezuela lost and was ordered to pay tens of billions of dollars in damages. 300 tankers worth. Okay? Trump isn't pirating ships. He must seize and sell 300 Venezuelan oil tankers to satisfy an international court judgment owned to U.S. companies. That is another angle on this military intervention in Venezuela. So it's more than just on the surface, we're looking at a quote-unquote regime change. It's not exactly that. I believe it's a multi-pronged attack and a multi-pronged assault against a corrupt puppet regime, against a vassal state, if you will, of Venezuela operating in a rogue manner. And it goes back as early as Hugo Chavez and what was happening with the Hugo Chavez regime in Venezuela prior to Nicolas Maduro. This is a larger agenda because Venezuela owes these other U.S. firms such as ExxonMobil and ConocoPhillips regarding their Venezuela oil projects that were seized. It's to satisfy an international court judgment owned to U.S. companies. Just another angle to think about, folks. It's not about, and we have to take a step back because it's not like the old wars. It's not like the old regime change wars. It's not even a war. This is a strategic military operation to follow through with international judgments against Venezuela, against the government of Venezuela, and what they've owed to other industries and firms and companies, along with the election interference, along with the election integrity agenda with Smartmatic systems, and with all of these other elections that were potentially rigged through Smartmatic software. Not just America, but other countries involved. That is a larger thing at play. Larger agenda at play. Let's take a look here. Rolling right through it. I got this article here we're going to bring up here. We're going to be wrapping up. We got some information about Maduro and his wife appear in federal court. We're going to get into that in just a second. But folks, if it's the first time joining Break the Chains Media, smash that thumbs up button. Be a part of the chain breakers here on Break the Chains Media, because that's what we do. We bring the truth and info and news to you. So be a part of the chain breakers. Smash that thumbs up button. Share this video with your friends and family. Be a part of the chain gang. And for all of those in the Denver metro area, the Golden Summit, we are having an event Saturday, January 10th. And I encourage everyone to be a part of it. Go pick up your tickets. I will pin this in the comments so you guys can all pick up your tickets. Pick up your tickets to the Golden Summit here in Colorado. We are building conservative future here in Colorado. Come pick up a ticket. We got great barbecue. We got great live music. We got great speakers. Come and hang out with us at the Golden Summit. Appreciate you all hanging out with us. But moving right along, tying it into. Oh, actually, this is pretty funny. We should check this out. Colorado currently. Let's check this out. Colorado currently has a Democrat. Colorado currently has Democrat Socialists of America in elected positions in our state government. whether it's the House or the state Senate here in Colorado, we have DSA members running rampant in our election process, in our... Fuck. It's fine. Hold on. Let me take a beat here. I get all pumped up about election integrity, but this is a little different. It's kind of the same, but it's a little different. Colorado currently has a Democrat Socialists of America in elected positions here in our state government. The DSA has infiltrated other state offices as well and are now making absolutely insane demands regarding Maduro, Venezuela, and America's geopolitical strategies. These are the DSA demands in light of the United States extracting President Maduro from Venezuela. They want a return of President Nicolas Maduro and First Lady Cecilia Flores to Venezuela, an immediate end to the war and an end to all U.S. military violence against Venezuela, a total withdrawal from all U.S. warships, fighter jets, and military assets from the Caribbean, and an end to any operation with intervention purpose driven by Southcom, and an end to the illegal unilateral sanctions against Venezuela, and the end to the use of unilateral sanctions anywhere in the world. Folks, this is absolutely insane. This is absolutely off their rocker. They are beyond the pale of ridiculous, beyond any reason. The DSA are socialists in America who side with the Maduro regime. They are siding with a dictator in a foreign country over the United States. Take that in for a second and realize that these people are in our elected offices right now. They are in our elected state house in Colorado and in other states across the country. These people do not represent America. These people do not represent our best interest. We're talking Lorena Garcia. We're talking about Julia Gonzalez. We're talking about Javier Mabry here in Colorado. These people alone stand with the Democrat Socialists of America. We got the likes of, we got the likes of Zoran Mandami. We've got the likes of Zoran Mandami running the city of New York as the New York City mayor. He is another one of these Democrat Socialists of America running this regime in our own country. And these people stand with foreign dictators over our own election process here in America, over our own constitutional republic here in America. It's absolutely sickening. Screw the DSA's demands. Screw all of this cockamamie BS that they want to spout out because they see war. They think it's war. They think it's all this other stuff. They think it's all another regime change war. Well, it's not that, folks. It's something way more strategic, way more biblical, more than you can even comprehend, more than you can even imagine. But it's all coming to a head here and now in 2026. You should watch the presser just to see Rubio refute the absurd press. I will watch it. I will check it out for sure. I just don't know if I'm going to watch it soon. I don't know. But yeah, folks, I do think there is a whole angle coming in with the Monroe Doctrine. And I got some flack. I got some flack on this because, and I'll read it here, but I mean, I'll read the exchange, but I do believe that the United States has an obligation to preserve and protect the entire American supercontinent. And the American supercontinent being North America, Central America, and South America. America, the United States of America, the United States of America has a duty to preserve and protect honest and genuine democracies and republics within our supercontinent that is the American Isle, North, Central, and South America. And if we have foreign assets or foreign entanglements within countries in our own hemisphere, the Monroe Doctrine speaks of this. But I do believe that the Monroe Doctrine is about strengthening the Americas, stopping criminal cartels, tin pot dictators, and stopping foreign involvement from the likes of China and Russia, Iran, and other countries. Imagine the possibilities of an economically independent and prosperous North, Central, and South America working together.
It's about peace on earth.
How is it peace on earth?
It's about
I keep coughing.
peace on earth.
Sorry, I have to do it again.
It's about peace on earth.
How is it peace on earth?
Peace on earth.
By-
We got to have peace. It's our hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine was very important when it was done, and other presidents, a lot of them, they lost sight of it. I didn't. I didn't lose sight. But it really is. It's peace on earth. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, and I think he sums it up very well. And I will get to the flack here in just a minute, but why are we so reliant on foreign oil? Why are we so reliant on Chinese or Japanese chip manufacturing? Why are we so reliable on rare earth minerals coming overseas, Pacific and Atlantic? Why are we so focused on that? You know, I want to understand, why can't we, as the Americas, as North, Central, and South America, work together and build an economic and industrial powerhouse along our entire supercontinent? You know, that is the larger move at play, I think, to a degree. Once we get past this election integrity stuff, once we get past the election interference stuff that's happening, I do believe that having an economic powerhouse of the supercontinent of America is vital to our preservation in our country and other countries spanning the Americas. That is the long-term goal. That is a long-term success plan, in my opinion. I mean, we got Nicolas Maduro waives bail. He waives bail. Maduro, being a head of state, wants to control, I believe, what he has and believes he has control over. Gonzalez told PIX 11 News following Maduro's court appearance. Gonzalez said if Maduro and Flores had requested bail, the government and I have agreed. I don't believe that they would have been a successful attempt. From a legal standpoint, I think it was wise to stand back for a moment. So in tears. Good name. Hard to read, but now I see it. Propaganda and a show. I do think that there is a degree to propaganda and a show. I mean, I think this whole thing, it's all a psyop, folks. When we come down to brass tacks, it's all a psyop. Trying to pull and sway our own biases, trying to sway and project our own thought process into what is best, what means best, right? But I think that there is a larger thing at play, and that is the election interference agenda. Maduro and his wife to appear in federal court to face narco-terrorism charges on Monday, court spokesperson says. Maduro and Flores in New York arrived Saturday afternoon, hours after they were taken from their home in Caracas and transported by the USS Iwo Jima. Maduro arrived at the Metropolitan Detention Center facility in Brooklyn at about 9 p.m. on Saturday. He was not slated to be housed or in his own wing on Saturday evening. His wife's confinement status of a Saturday night is unknown. In a superseding indictment filed by the SDNY against Maduro, members of his family and his cabinet, I literally read this earlier. This is exactly what I spoke on a month ago, okay? And it's interesting because you can't make this stuff up. A 92-year-old Clinton judge who denied Trump's hush money removal to federal courts and blocked Venezuelan gang deportations is now assigned to preside over the Maduro case in New York. Folks, this is huge. This is huge. By Jim Hoff, reporting from the Gateway Pundit. A 92-year-old Clinton judge who denied Trump's hush money removal to federal court and blocked Venezuelan gang deportation is now assigned to preside over Maduro case in the Southern District of New York. Alvin Hellerstein is his name. This same judge has a track record of ruling that seems tailor-made to thwart President Trump's agenda and protect left-wing interest. The U.S. District Judge Alvin K. Hellerstein, who took senior status way back in 2011 but somehow keeps popping up in major cases. He has issued several controversial rulings adverse to Donald Trump and his administration. These rulings have spanned Trump's time as a private citizen, his first presidency, and his current second term. So it's going to be difficult to see how this court case plays out with him taking Maduro's case. Rulings related to Trump's personal legal battles, rulings to Trump's second administration, extension and rebuke of the Alien Enemies Act, the Alien Enemies Act invocation, Gaza-related deportations. I mean, this is not the best judge to be running the case against Maduro, but we will see how it unfolds. It's hopefully they don't railroad him in another case. Hopefully they don't hold Trump back in this, because this is pivotal. This is monumental, and I only hope and I want to see truth come to light. Right now, Maduro is saying that he is claiming to be not guilty. He is claiming a not guilty plea. So let's take a listen here.
He's an experienced criminal defense and immigration attorney from New Jersey. Nelson, thank you for joining us, taking time out of your day.
John, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Well, let's talk about this initial appearance. The plea is out of the way, so what comes next?
Well, clearly, there's going to be some very robust motion practice, which is after the attorneys have an opportunity to review and digest the discovery, most probably go through that evidence with their clients. They will start preparing and building a way to try and dismantle the government's case. This particular case really brings to the surface a great deal of amazing legal issues. Two of which, right out of the gate, would be the immunity that Nicolas Maduro would otherwise argue that he has.
He does not have.
He is a head of a country. He was
we'll bring that up in a
president.
Second. He does not have immunity.
Biden
denied him that.
And he is benefits from certain immunities, including this type of prosecution. And then, of course, the quote-unquote abduction, the way that he was arrested, the way that he was captured and removed from his native Venezuela is also going to be an issue.
Well, it's not going to be an issue because Trump gave him the opportunity. Trump called it out months ago, back in October. Trump called out Maduro to say, hey, you can come on in. You can accept the charges and you can turn yourself in. And Maduro refused to turn himself in months ago. Now, let's take a look here because I have the actual video here. Biden sets legal basis for Maduro arrest by Biden sets legal basis for Maduro arrest by denying his immunity. President Joe Biden formally rejected Nicolas Maduro's claimed victory, recognized opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez raised Maduro's arrest bounty to $25 million and ordered he be treated as a fugitive from justice. This was the Biden administration claiming this years ago. Biden's action stripped Maduro of head of state immunity and treated him as an international criminal. That legal posture made the arrest lawful under U.S. law, contradicting Democrats now claiming enforcement crossed the line. Let's take a listen to this.
A day after taking a trip to Argentina, exiled Venezuelan opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez took his fight for democracy to Washington, D.C. The man, who claims to have won Venezuela's disputed July presidential election, met outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden at the White House on Monday.
He accompanies me from the heart. He accompanies us in the effort that we are making and which is received with affection.
Gonzalez, who fled to Spain in September under threats of arrest, has been a thorn in Maduro's side. He accuses the Venezuelan leader of rigging the election, and his claim stems from the opposition published vote tallies that shows Gonzalez with double the votes of Maduro.
You don't say.
I feel in a position to assume the mandate that was given to me by the will of the people on the July 28th. With fear you don't go to war. So I am convinced that I will travel to Venezuela by any means.
Despite the figures, Venezuela's government-aligned National Electoral Council declared Maduro the winner. And even after repeated appeals, the council failed to release the official tallies.
Oh, interesting.
Fear exists, we are all afraid. But we must be brave for our children and for a country that voted joyfully and won an election. We told the world that the tallies are there, and they have not shown the tallies.
However, the White House meeting offered a rare spotlight on Gonzalez's campaign to reclaim the presidency. According to a White House readout, President Biden openly endorsed Gonzalez, emphasizing a peaceful transfer back to democratic rule. Then, taking to X, the outgoing president called the exiled leader the true winner and reiterated his support, mentioning that Gonzalez should be the one who should be taking the oath.
Yep.
Now, it's also worth noting that Gonzalez's visit to Washington wasn't just about shaking hands. It was part of a whirlwind regional tour to rally support. Apart from meeting Biden, the exiled leader also met with Mike Waltz, President-elect Donald Trump's national security advisor, and discussed plans for civic protests in Venezuela and global strategies to restore democracy.
Our teams are in contact with President Trump's teams. They have been doing so for some time now. We will continue on the same course because our relations are going to be very, very close and very beneficial for the relations between Venezuela and the United States.
But Caracas didn't have it. Maduro's government lashed out, branding the meeting grotesque and accusing Biden of backing a violent anti-democratic project.
Let the whole world know that on January 10th, 2025, we will ratify our unwavering commitment to Venezuelan democracy and recognize Nicolas Maduro Moros as the constitutional president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, re-elected for the 2025 to 2031 term, to whom, as our commander-in-chief, will solemnly swear loyalty, obedience, and subordination.
Defiant Maduro didn't hold back. During a televised address on Monday, he assured he will take oath as president-elect.
It is clear and unquestionable, lawyers say, that...
Yeah, we can finish up there, but you can watch the rest of that video on my watch the rest of the video on my X account. But Edmundo Gonzalez was the rightful winner of the most recent election in Venezuela. Election riggers worked overtime to claim Maduro's victory, never officially showing the results. Biden acknowledged this and raised Maduro's bounty. Biden acknowledging that Nicolas Maduro was the unfit ruler and the undemocratic proponent of Venezuela's election, removes his immunity. Because he is not an elected official, because he is not an elected president, because he does not have the standings of the will of the people, because he retained his power by rigging the election, Biden even called it out, and now we are following through. So Edmundo Gonzalez was the rightful winner of the recent election in Venezuela. He had to flee to Spain from persecution in Venezuela. So now you're seeing this unfold, and now you're seeing this play out. So if that case, if the situation that they're unfolding right now in the Southern District of New York, if they're claiming that Maduro has immunity, political immunity, because he is an elected official, that whole angle falls flat on its face when you contrast it with Biden announcing that Edmundo Gonzalez was the rightful winner of the election and Maduro was the unelected regime dictator holding his power in Venezuela. That all comes crashing down, folks. It all comes crashing down. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, and like I said before, time will tell. There is still, things are moving extremely fast, and we're going to be landing the plane. We're landing the plane now, folks. But I appreciate everyone hanging out in the live stream. Say hello in the live stream. If you're on Rumble, give me a shout out. If you are on YouTube, say hello. But I appreciate everyone joining me on this first live stream of 2026 because it is a crazy one. And we don't have all the answers, folks. We're not going to get all the answers. We are just farmers in the field while the rulers and the globalists play their game, folks. And we're going to have many different factions claiming that it's regime change war, claiming it's for oil, claiming it's for Israel, claiming it's for the restructuring of the Rothschild Central Bank. There are so many different angles that you can see this play out with Venezuela. But I think the most logical outcome, the most reasonable outcome, the most expected outcome that we see is that this is the first time that the United States has extracted a political prisoner, a political quote-unquote president, an unelected dictator from his country, extracted him from his own country and brought him to America to face charges. I do think that we're going to hear Maduro speak and name names and squeal like a pig when it comes to the charges against him, and to lessen his charges, he will start naming names, and we will start seeing these people in America that were using the Smartmatic system, that were using the same infrastructure that Venezuela was using to rig their elections. We will see that same type of behavior. We've seen that behavior unfold here in America, and Maduro, I hope, and this is just my thoughts, I hope that Maduro will tie in to this larger election interference, this election rigging conspiracy, because it is a conspiracy. It is real, because they have been conspiring against the will of the people to rig these elections. And Venezuela is at the forefront of this. It's not just about the oil. It's not just about the drug cartels, the Cartel de los Sols, the Tren de Araguas. It's not just about this factional drug war that's happening in Central and South America, infiltrating to the United States, the influx of immigrants into our country, using a temporary protected status, bringing 40,000 Venezuelans into Colorado alone, but across the country. It's a multi-pronged attack, and it's happening in real time. And I'll stress it again, and I think the theme of this whole live stream was time will reveal all. Time will be on our side, and as time progresses, we will see a larger, more defined picture come to reality. And I do not believe that this is a war. I do not believe this is regime change. I do believe that this will build economic relations in the America supercontinent. And I believe that we might see other chess pieces move around as far as Cuba or Nicaragua or Colombia. We're already seeing some of these other tin pot dictators speaking out, especially in Cuba and especially in Colombia. I've watched a couple of those videos, but time will tell how this unfolds. But I do believe that there is a larger election interference narrative at play, and I do believe the hammer is about to drop on election rigging and election conspiracy here in America, and it ties directly to the Maduro capture and the Maduro case and the trial set forth ahead of him. But folks, that is going to do it for today's live stream. I appreciate everyone hanging out with me on this 2026 inaugural 2026 live stream. So thank you all for being here. We are going to check out and see who else is live that we could actually raid on Rumble, because that's what we do here on Rumble. We raid another channel because I want to see who else is on here. Maybe we raid I don't know, we can jump into the Salty Cracker here. No, maybe not, because that looks like it's a restream. Red Pill News, maybe. Yeah, I don't really see who else is on right now. Is Owen Schroyer still on? No. Owen Schroyer's not on. What about yeah, we'll jump over here. We're gonna jump over here and jump on to. We'll raid this old chap. We'll raid the quiet part. Because that's what we do here. Folks, I do thank you all for hanging out and being a part of Break the Chains Media. Be another chain breaker here on Break the Chains Media. We will see you tomorrow on Tyranny Response Tuesday. But folks, without further ado, thank you. I appreciate you. And as always, fight for freedom and never give up.